Okay, now let's find the sine and cosine of 45. Just before we start, I like to remind you, everything you prove, everything I prove for you, you have to repeat it for yourself. So after you watch the video, you write everything, you prove everything, you find out for yourself. The same for this part. And now let's go to sine and cosine of 45. You know that the 45 is actually here, is exactly in between. This is angle 45, which is the half of 90. So if you draw the perpendicular to the cosine, this would be the cosine of 45. And of course, in order to find the sine of 45, you draw a perpendicular here, and this would be the sine of 45. As you can see clearly in here, these two triangles are equal, of course. In this case, they are equal, because if this is 45, this is also 45, this is also 45, this is also 45. And the reason, of course, is, because this is 90, the whole thing. So the half of this is 45. And of course, because the total number of a triangle is 180, this is 90 here in this triangle, so therefore this is 45. This should be also 45. 45 is 90, right? And there is 90 here, so 180 in total. So you know that this is actually, you can see symmetry in here, so you can clearly see that the sine of 45 equals cosine of 45. They're equal. So now let's go to the unit circle equation. You know that for every angle, sine of alpha, sine square alpha plus cosine square alpha equals 1. Yeah. So sine square of every angle plus the cosine square of that angle would be 1. And of course, this would be the same for 45. So I'm just going to substitute 45 in here. Since you know this, you can just, and you know they are equal in this case for this specific angle. Since you know that the sine and cosine are equal, just let's substitute. Let's say sine square 45 plus, because this is equal, I put also sine square 45, because cosine is equal to sine for this angle, equals 1. So of course, there is two of them. You have 2 sine square 45 equals 1. So then you isolate the unknown, which is sine square 45. By taking 2 to the other side, you know this. You isolate it. In here, the 2 is multiplied. It will go divided in here. It goes at the bottom. So the sine square, of course, the sine of 45 would be the square of this part, which would be radical 1 over 2. And you know that radical 1 over 2 equals radical 1 over radical 2, and the 1 comes out of the radical easily, so this would be 1 over radical 2, but you have to rationalize it, right? So multiply both in radical 2 to rationalize it. So this would be 2, yeah. So you have radical 2 in the top, 1 times radical 2 would be top, radical 2, and the radical 2 times radical 2 would be 2. So the answer, sine of 45 equals radical 2 over 2. Yeah, it makes sense. And of course, the cosine is equal to this, so radical, both of them are the same.